an international break. It's been an up and down opening 2 months, hasn't it?
To say the least, yes.
Is it a good time to reassess the start again?
Well, a good time. I couldn't have wished for a more difficult game because Arsenal have had a tough time as well. So if it can happen to Arsenal, it can happen to any one of us. You know, the Premier League is so tough that you can go 6-7 weeks, and that's all it is, 6-7 games. We would love to have had a better start. We haven't. So what do you do about it? Do you just hide away from it and ignore it, or do you just come out and say, well, OK, we've got to get our season on track and get us started again? And it would be a great place to go and start. But we know it'll be difficult. Arsenal are in a similar position as us. They've had a disappointing start, but we know, or I know, whenever you go to the Emirates, you're in for a tough game.
I suppose there's two ways of looking at this. Some would say there's never been a better time to play Arsenal.
Yeah.
Others would say you're open to a backlash.
Well, of course, you can never say what it'll be will be. I'm a big believer in that and big believer in faith. I know for a fact one thing you have to be doing is to play well. We did last year. We went in London full stop last year. We played well. So it's important that we go and do that. And if we play well, we know we'll have to. And if we could do, then are we capable then of getting a result? Yes, we're capable of getting a result. Of course we are. But the first and most important thing is to play well as a team.
How do you set up against us? Because you know in any game that you play against them, they're going to have the majority of possession, yes. So you've got to be clinical with each other.
Well, I still think you've got to be positive against them. You've got to go out and cause them a few problems. And I think that goes for all the big teams. You know, you can't just sit back and defend against them because eventually they'll get a chance. So it's like any of the big games or any game that you play in the Premier League, you've got to try and impose yourself and try, and if you possibly can, cause them a few problems and get at them if we can. And certainly we've got players who are capable of doing that. We've proved in the past, you know, against Arsenal that we're capable, and let's hope we can do it again.
Are you surprised by just how much criticism Arsene Wenger's been for this season?
Well, I'm amazed because he's still, and for me, and I've said this many, many times, you know, for me, he's changed a lot of what's happened in English football. Certainly in the introduction of the foreign manager, I think clubs have looked at him and thought, well, where's the next Arsene Wenger? You know, he's been fantastic for Arsenal. And OK, over the last 3-4 years, you know, nobody knows, unless you're Arsene himself, of what's happening behind the scenes or what have you. But I know for a fact, if you look at his record and what he's done and what he's achieved, for him to be getting the criticism makes somebody like me feel a little bit better, to be honest. Because if he's open for it, then who am I? You know, the fella's been unbelievable. And the teams he's produced, what he's done for Arsenal. 14 years on the spin, he's got them into Europe. Never had the real money of the so-called bigger teams. Built the stadium, financed it, done the whole thing. So to criticise him, for me, is just totally ridiculous. It's Arsenal have had a tough start, and they're down at an area where we never really see Arsenal. But let's not forget, they've finished in European positions for 14, 15 years. It's quite a remarkable achievement. So, yes, they've had a tough start, and you could say, well, this could be the right time. You could also be on the backlash of them too, because they won't enjoy being where they are in the position at the minute. We'll have to play well ourselves and look after ourselves. And if we're good enough, like we were last year, to get a result, then great.